This didn't work out very well, did it, chums? And once again, when you think about it, Meghan Markle, well, goes halfway around the world, some people might say, all of course looking for adoration, trying to mimic Catherine, the Princess of Wales. And then there's these glitches that, when you think about it, could have easily been ironed out long before she even stepped on the plane. Now, when you think about it also with Meghan Markle, you have to remember that this is a woman whose career is definitely in freefall. As I mentioned, celebrities keep their distance because Markle herself demands certain things. You know, she wants the pictures, she wants to be seen exactly in the right light, she's always ready made up, hence the reason really celebrities don't want to be hijacked. But when you then decided to go back into the charitable route, and the bit that I find really strange about this, and I have to be honest, right, chums, is, well, also with, is she now an entrepreneur? Is she now back into charitable? And you'll notice the sour face as she's walking along.
You'll notice with Catherine, even though she might be doing something really delicate, meeting people of a really difficult thing, like the Southport case, etc., she still tries to put a smile on their face, make people laugh, make them look like they're happy and they should be there. The problem that you have with Meghan Markle is she's really a budding actress. And what you saw when she was doing the walk as she set off was it was really focused in her mind. Are the cameras on me? Is this the right look? Keep it severe and don't really acknowledge the fact that this is
already looking like something of a disaster behind the scenes. Let me tell you, those that are there who are working with her, they're having a bit of a tough time, as you can imagine. Nothing truly works out for the right direction. But again, you might say this is to blame. Let me explain. Morning, Toms. Welcome back. Thank you so much for your time today, and welcome one and all. Lovely to have your company. You know, we've often said here on the show about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, they go silent on people, have you noticed? Not just her own father, of course, Thomas, who, very clear, isn't it now, when you look at it all, she had no intention really of him going to her wedding, didn't fit the remit. But it's a people like, the so-called friends that they gushed over at the time. They were terrific. Remember when Prince Harry was on the Freedom flight? He openly said that they were going on this flight to a friend's house, even though they'd never met them, but they believed in them. I mean, what phrase is that? Believed in them. Tyler Perry, of course, some people might say, as we say in the north of England, has mocked his ticket, right?
So, consequently, you don't see anything in the public domain of support. Meanwhile, Markle gets upset if celebrities don't support her. You see what I mean, the two-way street. It's a bit like this man who was very in and seemingly now is very out, Miss Harmon. Now, we could go into great detail about Mr. Harmon. I mean, if you remember, he basically said something about dreams of the National Portrait Gallery. Turns out that basically sent a few pictures and they decided to file them in the filing cabinet. Still not being displayed, unless I'm wrong. And I spoke to the National Portrait Gallery and they have no record of them being displayed. So you get the picture. Of course, he's now, as I said the wrong thing. He's basically saying it's taken out of context, but even our leading politicians are advising that he should be removed from his position. And again, you would say, well, if you remember, he was supposed to be the person that was allegedly taking those pictures of the Queen up and down to Windsor from the Markle cottage, and he was there and all that sort of stuff. But he's never actually come out and said whether he's got the pictures or indeed
was truly there or not. You see what I mean? It's always a bit duplicitous with the way these people work. What is deafening, though, is Prince Harry, who popped along to see his exhibition the last time he was over here in the United Kingdom. Well, he's not come out and said anything in his support either. So you see what I mean? If you're a friend of the Markles, it's very difficult when the going gets tough, as Billy Ocean famously sang. Right now, this is a problem. If you look at this is, of course, Meghan Markle in Geneva. And also, the biggest problem with that is not only does she look kind of out of sorts, but just look around at the footage, right? Basically, you're in the middle of what looks like some kind of traffic island, and I'm not knocking that, that's not her decision, they decided where to hold it. The bigger problem now, and many people will not have realised this, but if you are the current British Home Secretary, What you're looking at is somebody who's very exposed and not at all with the right security around them. Whichever way you want to look at it, there are people in the background on their phones putting their coats on. It's an open field if you wanted to.
Take pictures, or indeed do something far more sinister. And this is the reason why, ultimately, this idea of them demanding security simply won't work. It just doesn't work for that simple reason. Now, again, the other problem is this. Meghan Markle was absolutely steaming at the positive press that the Princess of Wales, Catherine, received on her recent trip to Italy. But as I said to you recently, Catherine gets that publicity because of her status within the royal family, the good works that she's trying to do. It's not just something that's popped up. Meghan Markle cites this as being something that they started out a year ago, but then very quickly they've, removed themselves from that particular charity. Right, now the other issue as well is apparently she thought she was going to be landing the front pages of all the big newspapers, particularly over here in the United Kingdom. As you can see, every single newspaper decided to bypass giving Meghan Markle the front page. Why? Well, quite simple. According to my source, they didn't really see this as a relevant story. The only newspaper that gave her the front page, and they focused on Meghan Markle in Armani, and that infuriated her even more. Not on her speech was the Daily Mail, who she's currently, along with her husband, into some sort of litigation with, which is not going exactly to plan. On top of all of that, if that wasn't enough, and trust me, there's plenty, you see, the problem is when you give a speech like that, it's gone for 10 minutes. You're asking people to remain interested for 10 minutes, and one person with no back graphics, no nothing. Now, I know it's a very serious topic, I understand that, and my heart goes out to those families, it really does. But then to get a celebrity, and that is what Meghan Markle is, a celebrity. She has no cachet really aligned to that particular charity or indeed anything else. To just get them to come along and speak, you need to make it very punchy. According to sources, people were wondering how much longer it was going to go on for, because according to the sources, Markle was still working on the speech as she arrived. Now, that could be because she wants to tweak it and make sure she gets her message across. Behind the scenes, though, this is all the components, once again, of Australia meaning well, obviously, endeavors to be well, but because of the organization behind it.
The scenes, the exposé of the lack of security, and indeed the demanding fans. This is not going to sit well with Lamar when she returns back to California. How many times, though, does she have to be disappointed with her team that seemingly can't simply get a single visit with a good purpose together? Neil Shaw and the Heart of the United Kingdom.